Okay, so they're less vulnerable to radiation. So, you know, the fact that it takes you, when you get over 60 or even over 50, longer for you to heal from an injury is what will give you more impunity, if that's the right word, will help in a high radiation place. So that's why I said put that there. So here it's just, you know, as you can see, regolith, you know, this is where you want to be. While you have your telerobots out there walking around and doing things, stay indoors, you know. Stronger than steel Veltron. You know, Bigelow has been thinking about this for a while. He's developed this shielding for his habitats. He's been thinking about this. You know, multiple layers, hydrogen-rich plastics, you know. Lower gravity is different ways to you know, I can't remember his name, but he's of Spanish origin. At the last ISDC, I sat next to him, talked to him about what are we doing so you don't lose your bone and muscle mass. And he was saying that now they've got these exercise machines, including this, let me go back to this. Okay, this is not just an exercise machine. What is this doing? This is pushing down with the equivalent of whatever her weight is on Earth, pushing down so that the bones in her body and the muscles in her body still feel that pull, and so they don't degenerate.
So the resistance...
It doesn't solve everything, folks, but you know, there would be adjustive problems and so forth. Here's the only real solution if you're going to be in orbit, and that is to have a rotating habitat, rotating it close to Earth gravity, with the equivalent of Earth, close to Earth gravity. Okay, but it's all unpredictable, and history has shown not only that these things are unpredictable, but the outcomes are unpredictable, and that there are good consequences and bad consequences. Look at this. I mean, I wish I could put them all here. No one predicted all these outcomes. Yeah, they thought, you know, the Spanish said, yeah, there's got to be gold there. There's got to be gold. There's these legends. Sure enough, there was gold in the New World. But did they explain that they think that democracy would come out of this? Or the English colonies? That religious syncretism would come out of this? That jazz would come out of this? These are just some of the you know, avocados, tomatoes. And I said there's always good and there's always bad. Look at this, tobacco. It financed the New England colonies, some of them, right? Fantastic boom. It's killed millions of people, tobacco has. Okay, here's the bottom line, I think, that even if all of these companies that are out there right now fail, every single one of them, and we know ahead of time that some of them are going to fail. We know it. That the game is on. There is a new spirit here. And I'm excited for the first time in 40 years or so. I mean, there's something new happening.
And it's not just the Chinese on the moon?
No, but that's going to maybe...
Oh, it's spurred. That's what spurred
the commercial lander on the moon thing.
You know. NASA, yeah.
And the two people, I mean, there are different, you know, the Lunar X Prize has got this whole thing started already, this idea. And I foresee that the winners of the Lunar X Prize, maybe even the runner-up or so, are going to be involved with this commercial enterprise. So, the point is that if we don't develop space and become a multi-world species, there are unintended and unpredictable consequences. And you can see, you know, everything from space debris to, well, you know about this. Pathogens, pandemics. There's still a threat from nuclear war. And here's one I just found out about. I took a geology course, and unfortunately, after thinking, oh, it's good, we're tracking all these asteroids, near-Earth asteroids. We're really nailing this down. We're going to be safe. I found out about this huge volcano underneath Yellowstone Park that erupts every, 600 to 800,000 years. It's erupted twice. If it erupts, and parts of Yellowstone Park are rising at the rate of 3 inches a year. This is a granitic magma volcano. The worst possible kind of volcano if you're going to be near one. It's very viscous, and when it explodes big time. It's already done it twice. This would kill millions of people right off the bat in the United States and cause a volcanic winter that will kill billions worldwide. Okay, and this could happen anytime.
It would solve global warming.
It certainly would. I see David
I was
nodding.
wondering if it
Maybe
has
you
something
wanna
to do
tell-
with our chapter, since we're in the objective blanket.
Yeah.
We're saying we need to get moving.
Well, we'll be covered some, but we're right at the edge of
Okay.
it.
I did mention that the spirit of Apollo is rising again, but it's different this time. It's not just in competition, a political competition. And you have new private space companies. I know that the private space companies have been around for a while. I'm not going to go into that. These are new ones. It's different. Things are different right now. And of course, we know this is John F. Kennedy's famous speech. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because they are hard and bring out the best in us. And my assertion is that telepresence is going to facilitate all of this. Okay? And facilitate human expansion throughout the solar system until we become a multi-world species. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. Any questions or comments
any
now? I mean, we
questions?
can wax
Few more
now.
minutes.
Yes, go ahead.
I was curious on that, when that woman was exercising on the ISS, like, how much does that resistance help to, help her bone density, and do you know how much that's helped?
Quite a bit.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough. And it's for the arms, by the way. So you got this strap, according to, I wish I could remember his name, but according to an astronaut who fairly recently, he was Spanish origin, you can probably Google his name. He said that there was almost, the combination of these exercises, almost no detectable loss of muscle mass and bone mass. I was surprised to hear that.
You didn't mention any drugs. They've also got some drugs that arrest your body has chemical signals that
Yeah.
says, lose this, you don't need it. So there's ways that they're looking at using drugs to basically say, don't look at this, just ignore it, and just go on.
Oh,
So
okay.
you don't lose
Didn't
your
know
stuff
that.
that your body has.
Oh, okay, interesting. So it's a combination then of the exercises and the drugs.
Right.
Yeah, and like for the arms, there are other different ways. There's this one. It's you use. It also has it puts the same stresses that gravity puts on your. Now I don't know what they do for the neck, because I didn't see this thing goes here. What do you do for your neck? Do you have something?
Maybe you don't need
I
that
don't know,
much. yeah.
compress you this way? I don't know.
One of the question I had, I don't know much about that L2 and L3 and all the different
Yeah.
points, but how does that help in the communication between like the robotics that would be going on, or telerobotics that are going on the moon? How does that work?
Okay. Well, very good question. I went through it a little too fast. How far are you, if you're in a halo orbit, from L2 or L1? Now, what I'm talking about, I always am talking about Earth-Moon L2, Earth-Moon L1, because people sometimes confuse, there's a Sun-Earth, L1 and L2 too. We're not talking about that. So it's a three-body system problem. So we're talking Earth-Moon L1 and L2. those are around 60,000 kilometers to the surface of the Earth, of the moon, okay? So if you, that's within that 75,000 kilometers, which is a quarter second, okay? That's the speed of light. Light can go a quarter, in a quarter second, 75,000 kilometers, okay? That is significant. It's under that, which means that the whole thing, the operation, if you're in there with it and you're in that orbit and you're looking at a telerobot through a monitor or whatever,
Got it.
you're controlling it, that's near real time for you. See, you can take a little bit, the sensation of half of 75,000, which is what, 37 and a half kilometers. If you're that close, it's just like me picking up something, there's no difference. You get beyond that, and there's a slight lag time. You'll start perceiving, as you get closer and closer to 75,000 kilometers distance away from your object, you're going to start feeling a slight lag time. But still, as long as you don't go over that 75,000 kilometers, you can still manipulate things. You can tie knots or whatever.
But it
you
doesn't-
go over that.
It doesn't mean you can't do it, because they do it on Mars.
Oh, absolutely, you can do it on Mars.
But
They're
they
sitting
use
around.
a semi-autonomous robot. All you do is you tell, I want you to go from here to there. How you get there, you make up your mind.
Well, when you get beyond 75,000 kilometers, then you need more autonomy in your
Right.
robot. So like a surgeon doing laparoscopic surgery, I doubt that I don't know for sure, but I would be really surprised to find out if there's much autonomy in that telerobotic system. Maybe.
But it doesn't shake the way a surgeon's hands might.
That's
No,
true. That's
But
true.
what happens is that you have a system, you have a robotic system. Let's say fly-by-wire, an airplane. That is a robotic system.
Absolutely.
You have a pilot sitting in the airplane. All it's doing is saying, I want the plane to go that way.
Yeah.
And you bank this way, turn that way, whatever. And the robot itself, the software,
Yeah.
decides how the plane operates.
Yeah, in
So
fact.
that's the autonomous part.
The
And
autonomous
a lot of
part.
these
Yeah.
remote manipulators are like that. The operator says, I wanna go to this set of coordinates, and the autonomy software figures out what position to put each hinge line, what angle and
Yeah.
what combination gets it there. The operator doesn't have to manually
Right.
do all that.
And that's when you get to advanced telerobotics. I'm trying to get to that slide. That's what we're talking about. You can go all the way to robotics, period. Real robots that do everything, right? On voice command. That's the holy grail, basically.
No, that's Terminator.
Hey,
Skynet.
whatever you do, don't let these robots reproduce by themselves.
Oh, where is that slide or something?
Anti-replicator, eh?
Okay.
Replicants.
Yeah, so there's all different gradations between telerobotics and robotics. It's a spectrum. And the more sophisticated ones, more and more of the spectrum is handled by real robotics. Oops, that's not it. Darn it.
You didn't talk too much about the
Go ahead. Any other questions while I'm doing this?
the man-sized robot that they just took up to the space
we go.
station last year?
The what?
The year before.
Oh, yes,
Dexter.
Dexter.
No, that's
Is-
an
now,
robot. Sorry,
Is
well,
Dexter a robot, or, they always say it's a robot.
It's
It's
teleoperated.
a telerobot.
From somebody here on Earth.
So when you're reading these, that's a good example, Dexter and other systems. When you're reading and they say, oh, it's robotic, think to yourself, wait a minute, is it really robotic fully, or is it, So you have to kind of you have to read between the lines sometimes to really understand what kind of system that is. Now, you were talking about, there's supervised autonomy, high-level human control. That could be just maybe a flick of a switch or a voice command.
My car is giving me orders already.
But that's got me to the wrong place today, so.
They announced about 6 months ago, I saw on the internet, that they announced that 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 Dexter had unloaded the cargo from, I think it was, from SpaceX.
Right,
And they unloaded it. While the astronauts were sleeping, Dexter went in there and unloaded this crate and did all this stuff, and it was somebody from on Earth that did that.
Did you see the latest Dexter edition?
I'm sorry?
Did you see the latest Dexter edition?
No.
Running on.
Now, he's got legs, but the legs have these grippers on them. So really, he's got 4 arms now.
Well, I know he had some way of connecting to the robot arm. Some way of connecting him to it. I don't know how they're
I'm
doing
not
that.
sure of all that, but besides, just a voice command or whatever, you have multi-level robot autonomy. That's what we've been talking about all along, multi-level. And here's another one. I don't know any yet who've done this. One human mini robots, but that's definitely in the future. Then you could have a whole bunch of little rovers, swarms. Yeah.
Well, I worked in the logging. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please, go on.
This is really interesting. stuff.
I worked in the oil logging industry for
Yeah.
a number of years with
Did you?
Halliburton and Pathfinder and
Okay.
the Baker Atlas, all those